Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of A Gardener's Journey Homestead. I am back in the garden in the back of the house, and today is an exciting day because we get to harvest, we get to succession plant, we get to reap the benefits of our labor. So I'm in the back of the house. If you're brand new here, I'm in Zone 7 in the state of Tennessee, and in the back of my house is where my gardening journey started. 4 years ago, April 2020, my husband's son built me 4 raised beds. Now I have a 5th raised bed. But this is where it all started. This is where I put my hands in dirt for the first time. And so over the years, this space has kind of transformed in terms of what I plant back here. But when I first started, everything that I planted was out here because this is all I had. Everything that I planted was in 4 raised beds the first summer that I was gardening. Now you'll see kind of what we have today and then what we're going to plant after that. So back here right now, I have 5 raised beds. 3 of the beds are filled with garlic and 2 are filled with onions. Today is the day we harvest our garlic. So I have 3 beds of garlic. It is not enough to last me the whole year. And until I get another situation going on where I have more space to do garlic, then I know that I'm not producing enough to last me a whole year. Usually it lasts me 2 to 3 months, 4, 5 is stretching it, and then after that I have to buy garlic for the rest of the year. So I have not had fresh garlic in my house in probably the past 30 days or so, and I am feeling it. Every time I go to reach for a bulb, it's not there. So I'm excited to have fresh garlic back in the house again that we grew ourselves. So just to kind of catch you up, we planted this garlic together back in late October. For the past few years before now, I had planted my garlic in November. But this past year, I planted it in October. And this is the last day of May when I'm shooting this video, and the garlic is ready. It probably could have been picked a week ago, but I wasn't here. But it is on a previous video, I showed you the garlic scapes. And so if this is your first time doing garlic and you're not sure when to harvest it, if you are doing a hard neck garlic, then it's going to produce a scape, which I showed you on a previous video, which is a long thin stem coming out in the middle of the garlic bulb. You want to harvest that scape and use it in your cooking. You can dice it, chop it, freeze it, put it in soups and stews. It's going to give it great flavor. But you want to harvest the scape so that way it sends the signal to the garlic to grow a bigger bulb. That usually happens about 2 to 3 weeks before it's time to harvest your garlic. Then the next thing you'll see is that the leaves will start to turn brown, and you know that it's time to harvest. So that's where we are now. The leaves have turned brown, and this is a good time to harvest our garlic. Now, this year, when I planted in October, I did a brand new kind of garlic, which is called elephant garlic. Now, I'm gonna tell you, I cheated a little bit. Meaning, I came out here yesterday and just checked on the garlic and just pulled up a bulb just to see what it was looking like. And oh my goodness, I pulled 2 from the elephant garlic bed. One was relatively small, but the other one that I picked was massive. It was huge. I should have brought it. It's in my garage curing or whatever. But that's all I did. I only picked those 2. So I'm going to take you along with me for the rest of the journey as we harvest our garlic. So I'm trying to think, do I start with the biggest to the smallest or the smallest to the biggest? Let's start from the smallest to the biggest, which means we're going to start at bed number 5. This particular variety, let me go back to my notes and see what variety this is, and we'll start to harvest. Okay, I went back to my notes. I actually planted this garlic out on October the 10th, 2023. So normally I plant in November, and I'm not harvesting until like mid-June. So by me planting earlier, then I get to harvest earlier, which is great. And I think I like this, that way technically by like June 1st, I can go ahead and get the garlic out and then go ahead and plant us the next summer crop, which I'll tell you what that is later. So let's head over to bed number 5, which was the last one that we planted, but still on the same day because it's going to be the smallest. We'll go from the smallest to the biggest. So in this bed that we're about to harvest is red chestnut. I have planted this. I think this is my 3rd time planting it. I got my garlic from Mad River garlic. I have used them. This is the 3rd year I've used them. I've had nothing but great success. The red chestnut is a little bit of a smaller bulb than some of the other ones, but let's harvest it and take a look and see what we got. Okay, so I have 4 rows of this. Hopefully you can see this on video. I'm doing this by myself, but basically you can see the brown tops. If not, I'll show you in a little bit. And so basically I'm just gonna go around the garlic, and see, that came up very easily, just like that. I'll go around it to loosen the soil, because sometimes they can be hard to pull up, but this one was pretty easy. Y'all, that's still a nice bulb of garlic. This is red chestnut. I got 4 rows of this, so I'm gonna get to harvesting and let's see what we have. Okay, first bed is done. I got 54 garlic bulbs. They are relatively on the small side, so I kept the last handful just so you can see. Not very big, but I remember, if I'm not mistaken, last year this variety was small as well, so it must just be a smaller variety, which I don't know if I'll do it again. I like the bigger cloves. One, they're easier to peel, and then plus you get more. So why not? But I'm not complaining, because it's still garlic and it will still be used, most definitely. So 54 out of that bed. There were 4 rows, and they were planted probably not as far apart as some of the other ones, which again is going to yield to a smaller bulb as well. But this was the red chestnut. It smells good like garlic, so I'm happy with this first bed, even though it's on the smaller side. Hey, we got 54 that we didn't have to buy from the store. Now we're going to move on to our second bed of garlic that we have, which is Georgian crystal, which this is my second or third time doing that one, and I like the Georgian crystal, so we'll see what the yield is on that. I have less in that bed than in this one, just because the cloves were smaller on the chestnut red, and I was able to get more in there. But let's go to the second bed and see what we yield over there. Let's pull the first one together. I can already tell it's bigger just because I can see the the stalk and the root. Those pulled out really easily. Wow. Do you see how big that one is compared to the other one? Wow. Okay, just so that you can compare. Can you see that? This is the red chestnut. This is the Georgian crystal. You can see the size. Y'all, that is big. You can see kind of the size of my hand. That is a big clove of garlic. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm looking for. So let's see what else we got in this bed. Again, I don't have as many, but let's harvest this bed and see what we have. Okay, second bed done. My back hurt. Those were not nearly as easy to pull up. The other ones I barely had to use a shovel. It was just coming right up because they were smaller. These had some weight on it. I think I pulled something in my back. Man, that hurt. These are much bigger. Now, I do have some smaller ones, and it's where I planted close together. So it was like on the last row where I probably was trying to fit them all in this one bed. No, I remember now. This bed was Georgian crystal, a half a pound, and then the last row was actually red chestnut. So that's the one. That's the ones that are smaller. I remember now, going back to my notes. So the Georgian crystal was a nice size. There were about 28 of those. I just did a real quick spot check. So about 28 at least. So that puts us up to 54 plus 28. That is like 82. 54 plus 28, 82. I think, if my math is right, real quick. So that's about 82 heads of garlic. So now let's go to our last and final bed, which is the elephant garlic. So elephant garlic, I got that from Keene garlic. The rest of them I got from Mad River. So the elephant garlic is actually traditionally much bigger, hence the name elephant garlic, but it's actually part of the leek family, not necessarily, it's not a true garlic, but because it looks like garlic, it grows like garlic, it's called elephant garlic, but scientifically, it's part of the leek family. And so the garlic flavor is not as potent. It is still there, but it's not as potent when you're eating it in a raw state as it would be traditional garlic. So I'm excited because the one that I pulled was massive. So let's go to the last and final bed. Let's see how many elephant garlic we have, and let's compare the size of that one to the ones that we've already harvested. So I have 3 rows of this one. Oh, that is huge. Look at that. Again, pretty big size of garlic. Doesn't even do it justice. You can see it's almost the same as that Georgian crystal, but a little bit bigger. Let me see what else is in here. Okay, third and final bed is done. That garlic is huge. Let me show you. This is the biggest garlic I have ever seen. Do you see this? Like, it pretty much takes up my whole hand. That is huge. Now, look at these right here. This is on all of the elephant garlic. Because it's my first time growing it, I'm like, what is that? Is that supposed to be there? And I looked it up. It's supposed to be there. So when you harvest elephant garlic, and if you've done elephant garlic before, validate me that yours look like this. But there's like these little garlic bulb nodules or something. It said it's completely normal. It says that they are edible and that you're in for a treat when you roast them. So I'm assuming maybe they have more pungent flavor. But y'all, look how big that is. That is a huge, huge garlic bulb. So elephant garlic, as long as I like the flavor, it is definitely on my list going forward. Like I said, I told you I harvested 2 yesterday. I actually used 1 clove today. I was cooking and making something. I used 1 clove of that garlic. Let me just tell you, it is so easy to peel. And that's the reason why I tried it, because I saw it on somebody else's channel. They were talking about elephant garlic and how easy it was to peel. And that was in my era when I was peeling all of that garlic. Remember, I peeled all of my garlic and made it into like garlic paste bulbs. I mean, garlic paste bombs or whatever, and put it in my freezer. Y'all, that took days. So when I heard them say easy to peel, I was like, order in my cart. And so as long as I like the flavor, which I don't know why I wouldn't, this will be on the list for next year, right? So I ordered my garlic last year around the last week of June. I will do the same. You always want to get your garlic orders in early because they run out fast. So as you're seeing this video, it's the top of June. Go ahead and start making plans and thinking about what garlic you want to order. What you should be harvesting your garlic anywhere between June and July, depending on when you planted it. You may have already been harvesting if you planted yours early like me in October, but be thinking about what worked well and what didn't work well and what you want to do again. I can tell you the chestnut red, that's coming off the list. Georgian crystal and elephant garlic staying on the list. And then maybe I'll try a brand new one to add to the list. So put down in the comments a new one that I need to try that you really, really like. I did music garlic last year. It was, you know, it was not relatively big. I like big, right? So, but I do like flavor too. So put down in the comments one that you want me to try this upcoming fall, so that when I place my order, I'll go ahead and put it on the list. Now, let's talk about once you harvest your garlic, what are you to do with it? Now, can you use it right away? You can use it right away. Like I told you, I just used a clove this morning, right? But for the most part, I'm going to store this. So to store it, I'm not going to wash it. I'm going to put it in my garage, lay it in a single flat layer for about 2 to 3 weeks and let it cure. You will know when it's cured when all of this turns brown, dry and brittle. And it's no longer like moist, wet at all. Basically, you're letting it dry out. When you do it that way, you're able to store the garlic for, 6 to 9 months or something like that. Now, mine never lasts that long because I'm using a lot of garlic. But if I grew enough garlic to last me, it would last, easily 6 months in a root cellar, in a basement, something like that. You want to store it in a cool, dark, dry place. Now I use my garage or my root cellar. I usually use my garage just because it's easier for me to go out there and let it cure. Now, is it cool out there? It's not as much as it would be in my root cellar, but I've done it that way for the past couple of years and it's worked just fine. Now, don't do that and then yours burn up and then you blame me. So the instructions are to store it in a cool, dry place. Cool, dry, and dark for 2 to 3 weeks, and you'll be able to tell once it gets the moisture out of it. All of this will turn brown, brittle, and dry, and you'll know that it's cured and ready to go. That way, then you can clip it, you can wash it, and then you can store it away. If you were going to eat it immediately, obviously you would wash it now and go on about your way. But for this, I'm just going to loosely, shake the dirt off of it so that it's not caked in mud. And then I'm just going to lay it in my garage for the next 2 to 3 weeks and let it dry and do its thing. And then we'll, once it's cured, we will, cut off this part, and then we will store it away. So I'll try to show you that on video. I don't know if I've ever done that before or not, but basically that's how you do it. So now all my garlic is out. That just gave me 3 new beds in the back of my house. And remember, we were planning for this day. So what is going to go back here? Well, one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to plant Roma tomatoes in one of my beds. Now, in a perfect world, I would have started Roma tomato seeds. It was on my plan to start in, I think, the last week of April. And so by that time, they would have been 6 weeks old right around now, which would have been perfect for them to go in the ground. But I did not do that because I traveled so much in May and I could not start seeds. So today I went out and I purchased some Roma tomato transplants, and that's what we're going to plant. And I was so thankful that they still had transplants out and that I was able to find Roma. So back in the back of the, back here, the reason why I'm doing Roma is, one, I need more paste tomatoes to make tomato sauce and all that stuff. But then also, secondly, I'm not putting the trellis back here. So I need something that's going to be more of a bush growing habit. And so a Roma tomato is a determinate tomato. So if you have not heard the difference between a determinate and indeterminate tomato, determinate has a determined size and it puts on all of its fruit at once. It has a determined amount, determined size. An indeterminate grows indefinitely, can get up to 7, 8, 9 feet tall, and it will continue to produce all throughout the season. Versus a determinate, which is what we're growing back here, a bush, a Roma, is going to only get to like 4 or 5 feet in a bush format. It's not going to grow tall. It does not need a trellis. It could benefit from like a tomato cage, but it does not need a trellis, which is perfect for what I need. So that's what we're going to plant back here in one of the beds. Okay, so before we plant the Roma tomatoes, I meant to tell you what we yielded in the bed that had the elephant garlic. It was 28, between 28 and 30, somewhere along in there. I think it was 30. So that gives our total roughly, let's see, 54 and 30, that's 84 plus 28. I think that's like 100. Y'all, my mind is not. 50 and 28 is 78. Plus 28 would be, I think, 106, if I'm not mistaken. So a little bit over 100 cloves of garlic. I have a plan for next year that I'll tell you about later to yield more garlic, because I went from 2 beds. I used to do 2 beds of garlic, doing 3. 3 is still not enough. So I'm going to need more garlic so that I don't have to keep buying it pretty much over half of the year. But I'll tell you about that plan later. But today, I'm happy that we have 100 plus cloves of garlic to cure in the house that we grew with our hands. So I want to remind you, get your garlic order in your head and make sure that you know what you want and order your garlic. I would say let's just all shoot for, can we all just shoot for, we're going to order our garlic by like July 15th or something like that. Let's all just shoot August 1st. By August the 1st, let us all touch and agree that we're going to order our garlic for the upcoming year. And if you have never, ever, ever done garlic before, make sure that you plan to do it in the fall. So if you don't do any of the fall gardening, if you're worried about cold temperatures, you can do garlic. It is one of the easiest things to grow. You basically put it in the ground and you forget about it. Literally, you don't have to do anything. So make sure that you put that on your list to grow this fall. You're going to plan to grow it somewhere between October and November. You'll harvest it in May or June of 2025. So definitely put that on your list. Now let's go ahead and put our Roma tomatoes in the ground. And again, I hate that I didn't do it by seed, but I'm thankful that the little plant place off the side of the road had some Roma tomatoes for me to buy today. And again, another thing, if you're looking for transplants, if you live in an area where they have those little plant sales on the side of the road or something like that, go in there and stop by, because they'll usually give you a deal. So like the 6 packs were $4.99, but there were plenty 6 packs that only had 4 in them instead of 6. And so she gave me 4 6 packs for the price of 3 6 packs, which was a deal. So Okay, so we got the Roma tomatoes planted. I planted 12 in the first bed, and then I got 2 more that I put in one of the other beds just because I ran out of space in this one. And I still have I have 4 left. So that's, yeah, 14. So I got a total of 18 Roma tomato plants for the price of, yeah, I got the right price, because she only charged me for 3 6-packs, and I got 18, so I paid the right price. So that all worked out very good, even though they were spread out across 4. So we got our Roma tomatoes in, so that's 1 bed done, and then a half of another bed. And then stay tuned for the rest of this month as we start planning out the rest of the backyard space, and I'll tell you what's going to go in what. But until next time, remember, gardening is a journey. Thank you so much for joining me on the journey today as we harvested our garlic. Hopefully you got a little bit of education as well. Let me know if you've harvested your garlic already, how many bulbs you got. Let me know if you've never done garlic, but you're vowing and committing that you're going to do it this upcoming fall. Let me know all the stuff, and let me know what garlic I need to try for fall of 2024. Remember, gardening is a journey. Let's grow together. I'll see you next time, friend.